Good morning, everyone present here after a long technical battle to start this presentation. It's my pleasure and privilege to be delivering a lecture on collaborative learning techniques and tips for teachers at this ATAL FDP. My hearty welcome and wishes to all the participants and the organizers, especially Dr. Tilagamani and Dr. Murugesan, who are being very actively involved and have taken so much pains to organize such a kind of FDP for the benefit of the teachers on various, much need of the hour topics. So, though my topic focuses on collaborative learning styles and methods and etc., as communication professor, I am very well aware of the fact that communication or any human interaction doesn't happen in isolation, right? So when we teach the basic elements or the components of communication process, we start with the sender, the message, then the channel, and then the receiver, and all that different basic elements of a communication process. There is one important element that the students of communication need to know. That is context. The context, the situation in which that communication process happens, alter each and every element in that communication process. The situation or the context, the circumstances influence the sender, right? See, now the lecture is scheduled for 2 hours and you have been waiting, and we have all been grappling with this technical glitches for some half an hour. Now the context and the situation has entirely influenced or has changed the mood, right? So otherwise, if there is no technical hitch, we would have started the session much earlier, and the flow of the lecture. So it influences the mood of the receivers, it influences the temperament of the sender, the speaker, me, and then the message also, right? So I would have planned to show different, so many slides. So for want of time, in order to make it to the stipulated time, I have to cut short my message, right? So the entire thing, it affects the entire communication process, right? So before we move on to learn this collaborative learning tips and strategies, I want all of us to understand that in which context, in which situation, in which circumstances the entire globe or entire world is suffering with, right? We all know we are all affected by the COVID-19 pandemic terribly, and all aspects of our life got affected, right? So the most affected is the teaching learning process itself, right? For more than one and a half years or so, we have been teaching, we have been imparting education knowledge to our students through online mode. So before 1.5 years back, this completely online mode of teaching learning process was absolutely new to us, of having only online classes and not able to see our students in person. So the communication, the dynamics change entirely because of this situation or the context or the pandemic situation, right? So even this FDP is planned to equip or enhance or serve as a stopgap arrangement. Okay, so during this lockdown or during this partial reopening of colleges, we are also planning, or we have also taken efforts to update ourselves on all these learning technologies and pedagogies before we happen to go for our offline classes, right? So I thought of dividing my presentation into 2 parts. The first part will be focusing on how we can prepare ourselves for this new normal which has dawned on us, which has been imposed on us by this COVID-19 pandemic, right? So adapting to new normal situation in the educational setup, in the teaching learning process. So this particular COVID pandemic situation is a disaster, right? No doubt, it has impacted different aspects of human lives across the globe. So that is the a very important part, right? So it has also affected our personal, professional, and social interaction, right? So now, how are we going to adapt to the new normal situation? New normal is the buzzword today, right? So wherever we go or whatever we do, we need to adapt to entirely new situation, which is very much, we were not used to it, right? So I just wanted to focus first on adapting to new reality or new normal situation, generally also, because this disaster has taught us so many life lessons, right? So we also happen to face so many disasters. As the a person who has spent more than 1 year or so in the last lockdown on uh, on various aspects of psychosocial care during COVID-19 pandemic, I thought it would be if I could share some psychological part of the impact of COVID-19 and how we need to prepare our mind to adapt to the new normal situation generally, because you can apply this to any disasters in our life. This is a bio disaster, right? We may also have to face, or we have also faced so many disasters, personal disasters, financial disasters. If we happen to meet any disasters, we can cope ourselves with that particular disaster. So all these inputs, my introductory inputs on adapting to new normal situation, will give us a general perspective on preparing ourselves for the new reality, which is very much on the cards. For most of us, it has already started, right? So, and the second part, I will focus only on collaborative learning methods and strategies and tips and whatnot, right? As teachers, and especially teachers of engineering colleges, we are very much, aware of, probably so many years of experience in handling people, handling students. So learning the tricks and trades of our teaching learning process will not be a difficult one for us. So I just wanted to begin my lecture with the certain techniques that we need to know when we are forced to adapt to new normal situation. And the second component of my lecture will be on focusing only on collaborative learning strategies and tips for teachers. So let me go into my presentation now. Yes. As teachers, we are very much aware that, can you see the slide?
Yes, madam.
Yes. Yes. So we need to understand that
It's not visible for us.
yeah, I think now, is it okay? Now can you see this? See the slide?
No, not at.
Yes, it is visible, ma'am.
What about others?
I can see it, ma'am.
Yeah, visible,
I
ma'am.
can see, ma'am.
I can't see, ma'am.
Okay, I think please check
It's
your
visible.
own settings. Yeah, yeah, fine.
It's visible.
So like, yes, fine. So we need to understand the context, as I said in the beginning, for which, because we are dealing with students
Now I can
of,
see, ma'am.
yeah, very. So we are dealing with students, flesh and blood, and we need to understand that what are the trauma, what are the difficulties, both financial and psychological difficulties they may face. And we also, as teachers, also we have so many difficulties. We need to balance our work and family. We need to take care of our own children. We will have our own financial worries, and all these things matter a lot in which can play a havoc in the process of the teaching learning process. So we need to understand how we need to adapt to the new normal, which has been imposed on us by this COVID-19 pandemic. I think one of you have not yet unmuted. I think muted your audio. Can you please mute your audio, mic? Yeah, as I said, I don't have to give more details on this COVID-19 pandemic's impact, right? So more than 20 crore people across the globe have got infected, and more than 45 lakh people have died so far, and almost half of the 3.3 billion workforce across the globe has got been terribly affected. So these are the different impacts, as you all aware of: physical, economical, social, and psychological. Because we're all social animals, and our social life has got crippled to a larger extent due to this COVID-19 pandemic, right? So which has led to so many social issues and problems, and psychological issues also, individually, both individually and as well as the whole community at large, right? So but then all disasters and all tough times will give us something, right, to reflect or to ponder over, to as a takeaway, as a lessons probably. So this COVID-19 pandemic induced lockdown, and the entire 1.5 years of struggle has given us something to take it, right, for the further journey of our life, right? So thanks to this pandemic situation, now we have gone back to our hygienic and healthy way of living, right? So we have started giving more importance on our personal hygiene of ourselves and our own family members and our the entire community at large, right? And we have also learned to live closely with nature. That is it's a very wonderful thing for the the environment. Probably nature has punished us with this disaster, this bio disaster, because we have polluted the mother earth to a greater extent, right? So now we have gone back to our roots. Many of the people have gone back to their agriculture and all that, basic our own traditional way of living and profession, right? And food habits also, we have changed our all the junk food habits. We have dumped that, and we have moved on to the hygienic food. And we've also got introduced to the minimalistic life. That is very important, right? So when the first lockdown was imposed on us, then only we learned how minimum number of resources we need to have to in order to survive, right? So the basic food, the basic expenses, at that time only we thought of, we could understand that how minimal number of resources are sufficient for us to live, right? So all the other things, all the white goods, all the other extravagant lifestyle we have been living has led to all these sorts of financial burden and all that problems, right? And we also learned the value of human bonding. Till then we were, the whole entire human kind, have started living a more individual life, right? Me, myself, my family, all that stuff. We were more addicted to the gadgets. We were, in awe of all the social media and all the gadgets. We were living in more virtual world than in real world, right? So now we were thinking like, I don't want any relatives. They are, very trouble making people. Okay, so I have my own mobile phone, everything is there in my mobile phone. I can just order any food I want. I can ask any person to come in and do any household works, etc., etc. Everything we could be able to do it with our gadgets alone. We were never bothered to manage our relationships, to keep our relationships, right? So but then this lockdown and all this, the pandemic situation has made us to realize how human bonding is very much essential for the humankind to thrive and survive, right? So and then we have also understood the untold sufferings of our own family members. The husband could understand the plight of how homemaker probably. So earlier, she would have been chided by her husband and all the family members, that you're just sitting at home, right? So what do you do? So now the husband could understand the sufferings of both the housewives and the professional women like all of us, right? So earlier, they don't know, they're not aware of what are the works we need to do. We have, what are the issues we face at office and all that stuff. It's vice versa also. Women also tend to could get to peep through the husband's sufferings and their hardships at office and all that stuff, right? So it has evoked an empathy at the family level too, right? And then it has also evoked or invoked this social empathy too, right? So during the first lockdown, we all happened to witness the sad plight of our migrant laborers who were living and working in some other area, and they had to walk miles literally barefooted, right? So so then only we could realize that so many people are suffering, and many people are, including so many of us present in this platform, also we would have donated, or we would have helped, we would have contributed to the to alleviate or any sufferings, right? So the social empathy actually has been developed by this COVID-19 pandemic situation. And then we also had so much time to self-reflect, right? We could reflect on our own selves. Okay, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are my, my mental makeup, right? So how to handle this challenging time and all that stuff. We could introspect a lot thanks to that, abundant time we had during the lockdown time and after, right? So yes. So like only in those times, in the tough time, in the disaster time, we could understand the real meaning of life. Actually, it is life is all about living, living happily and making others happy, right? So we also could understand the need to know, need to acquire more knowledge, right? And we have also learned so many new knowledge. We have undergone. We would have undergone so many trainings. We have learned so many things, right, during this lockdown time. So like, and we also, thanks to the disastrous time, we have gathered steam and strength to, move on, to face more challenges, right? All the tough times will make us, will give us a lot of strength, right? So it has enhanced our resilience also, right? And then now we have moved from victims to survivors. See, victims are very, like the weaker people, the people who are suffering, right? So now we have suffered a lot and we have moved on to the next phase called survivors, because in this pandemic time, surviving was great, right? So many of our near and dear ones have lost their lives, right? So we could be able to survive, and with a lot of with the available resources and ammunition we had, right? So these are the different takes because of this pandemic situation. Now the whole world is on a bumpy journey. It's a very uncertain journey, right? So and now it has come to a new world called new normal, right? So these are some of the characteristics of new normal. It is very uncertain. Nobody knows what is in store for us, right? So it is already dawned on us, actually, right? For the teaching community, and it will keep on changing. What we expected will not be remaining the same in a couple of months. Right? It will keep on changing. The challenges, everything will be changing frequently. Right? So the psychologists across the globe have, strongly said. Actually, most of them have said that, the role or the role of the psychologist right now, okay, when the pandemic, was there, it is their role is to prepare the people for the failure, because we are bound to fail when we are attempting a new different things for which we are not trained, for which we don't have any proper preparation, right? So the job of the psychologist is to prepare the world for the failure, prepare the people for the failure, right? Because not many of us have, you know uh, got to live with this kind of traumatic or disastrous situation, right? So now these are the different domains that new reality has influenced. As you all know, this is our new normal surroundings. Wherever we go, we need to wear our mask and keep sanitizing our hands and all that stuff. So this is the all the thermal screening and check in all the public places, common places, right? Even the work home environment has been has changed, right, tremendously, right? So dad will be working, and even mom also will be working, and children will be having their online classes. They will be studying at home, and people, IT professionals, and even our own like teaching community also had to work from home, right? So these are the normal new normal situation. Yeah, so these are the implications. I don't have to focus more on this because we don't have much time. Yes. So social life after COVID-19 also has been terribly affected, right? So there is a lot of issues faced by the society after this lockdown or the pandemic situation, right? The entire social life has got transformed into a new normal or new reality situation, right? Like work from home, work from home also has become the norm, right? So these are the different challenges this COVID era, post-COVID era has thrown in front of us, right? So now it is everywhere technology-enabled learning, right? So technocracy is all out there, right? We have to bear with this, and technology is dictating terms on us, right? There is no actual real world interactions. Even teachers and students are not facing face to face, right? They don't have any we don't have any offline classes or physical classes as such, right? So at workplace, at the professional level also, this pandemic has thrown so many challenges, and there is a lot of reduction of sports and recreation activities. Everything was banned, right? And this is the psychological impact, the mental health. The PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. It has many people have got affected by the this PTSD because one of their family members would have been died, or they would have been got infected by the virus, and all that stuff has increased the number of people suffering from PTSD and the social isolation. People who got infected were treated like untouchables, right? So all these things has influenced or impacted the psychological part of human beings, right? So, as this quote suggests, every crisis demands self-discipline, patience, early adaptation, and adjustment to the changing situation. So, as teachers, we are in the position to learn this first, internalize this attitude first, and then we are supposed to imbibe the same qualities in our students also, right? So, these are some of the traits that we need to know, we need to possess to survive in this new normal situation. As I mentioned in some of the earlier slides, we need to expect the unexpected. Anything can happen, right? We have to prepare our mind. That's it. We don't. We other things are not in our control, right? And we also need to anticipate failure. We are bound to fail, right? So whenever we try different things and without proper training, right? And we need to adapt very quickly. We don't have much time, but then there should be a measured way of adapting, right? We should take measured steps, not hurried steps, right? And then flexibility, right? We need to be more flexible. We need to keep our mind open. We should not be adamant in saying sticking on to the old patterns of teaching. Some people, some teachers still have the mindset that all these online classes won't work here. So there's nothing like chalk and talk and all that stuff. So we need to, as teachers, we need to be more open-minded. We need to be embracing the change, the new situation, right? We need to be very well versed with all this technology, which help us to connect, right? And we also need to be very creative. See, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So naturally, we may come up with innovative solutions, creative solutions, right? Customized solutions for our own problems. So one thing we need to do is we just have to keep our mind open, mind and heart open, right? And then this is the technical definition for adaptability. So the first thing for us to adapt is to, first we have to observe the changes. We have to keep our eyes also open. What are the new things that are happening in the teaching learning process? What are the new developments have come? What is the attitude? What is the changed attitude of the students? So what are the new demands in teaching? So all these things we need to observe, and then we have to adapt ourselves to the new situation. Okay, so and then the embracing change, accepting the change. Embracing change is accepting the change happily. That is what embracing means, right? So it's a forced change. It's very tough, actually. Very tough to accept the forced change. We can change if we want, or if something gives happiness, we can change. That is different, right? But then this is the imposed change, forced change. Then it will give us a lot of stress. But then if we keep our mind and heart open, we can embrace change, right? So as teachers, we should be we should lead from the front. Okay, only then our students will follow. So any disaster will bring change, right? The COVID-19 pandemic has changed all aspects of human life completely, right? So as I said, change will always lead to some fear, some uncertainty, some anxiety, right? All these stress and anxiety, as psychologists say, you also would have been aware of, worrying about the past makes us depressed. That is called depression, right? So worrying about the future, what will happen? How will I pay my debt? How will I educate my own children? How will I adapt to the new education, teaching technology, methodology, pedagogy? All these things that will be worrying about our future, right? That is called anxiety. That will make us more anxious, right? So both the depression and anxiety do not help in any way, right? It will help. It will make the life miserable of our present day-to-day life. So psychologists continue to say we should not oscillate. We should not go back to our past and regret. That will make us depressed. And we should also not worrying too much about the future. We need to plan for the future. We need to work for the future. But then we should not be worrying about the future. Okay. So if we keep on oscillating, the human mind is made in such a way that it will oscillate between past and the future. It is the challenge of human beings to keep our mind in the present. So all this yoga and all the meditation makes us to live in the present, right? Yes or no? So in that way, you can control your mind and stop worrying about the past and worrying about the future. So as I said, forced change is very painful. We need to keep our mind. We need to accept that. We need to anticipate, just like that. We should go easy on our own self. We should not be too self-critical, because it's very new thing. It's very unexpected, unanticipated thing, right? So we are bound to fail. We have to accept that. It is a very tough time. For last one and a half years or so, if you survive itself, it's a great achievement, right? So we have to be grateful for what we have, what we are left with. Okay. So if we keep that mindset, our mind will be open and there won't be any anxiety, right, in accepting the forced change. And more important thing is we need to come out of our comfort zone, right? So as teachers, we have been at least for some 5 years or so, we'll be teaching the same syllabus, right? Same tested methodologies also, time tested methodologies. We have to come out of that. So that gives us some comfort, right? We don't have to prepare, we don't have to spend so many hours together to prepare for the new concept. We don't, we usually hesitate to go for any new methodology, new innovative methodology, because it is very time consuming. We all human beings want to stay in the comfort zone where we are comfortable, right? But we need to, it's time for us to come out of the comfort zone. And all the time tested methods and practices expired suddenly, right, in a very short span of time. We have no other option than to switch to new normal situation. And we have to immigrate into digital world. We are teaching millennials, right? So they are all digital natives, but we are all digital immigrants, right? So our students are more comfortable with the technology and gadgets and all that new knowledge also sometimes, right? So that thing we need to keep in our mind. We should be very conscious of understanding the changed or transformed status of our students. We need to drop our ego and accept that students know better, but then it's a matter of time. We have seen and we have witnessed so many tough times in the past, and we have overcome that in a very successful manner. So we can also learn to adapt. We can also be the digital citizens or netizens, as they say, right? So we need to immigrate into the digital world where our students are digital natives. We need to understand that. So we should not take it as an egoistic thing. Students will be naturally even for their age itself, they will be like that. I know better than you. So now now the teachers are struggling with the new technology and pedagogical for want of new innovative pedagogical methods, right? So students will be thinking that they know better. So it is very important to understand that and equip ourselves sufficiently to handle them and then to take command over them. That is also very important, right? So there is a thin line of being a dictator or being an instructor and as a flexible teacher. Okay, so all these things we need to be aware of before moving on to learn the collaborative learning. Okay, so my first part is over. Now I will move on to the collaborative learning components. Yeah, so the great evolution theorist Charles Darwin itself has said, it is a long history of mankind, even animal kind too. Those who learn to collaborate and improvise most effectively prevail. So it's a very tough situation. We need to prevail, we need to survive, right? So for that, we need to learn to collaborate. Earlier, we were restricted. We were thinking that me, myself is sufficient, right? So my family members are there for me. My community people are there for me. I don't have to, collaborate with other people, some strange people. It's not required for me. That kind of attitude we would have thought. But collaboration is very much essential to survive, especially in a tough time like this. Yes. So this is again a beautiful quote from Bernard Shaw. So collaboration is all about sharing, right? Sharing our resources. How collaboration helps us. Okay. So I read the quote. If you have an apple and I have an apple and we exchange these apples, then you and I will still each have one apple. But if you have an idea and I have an idea and we exchange these ideas, then each of us will have two ideas. So that is the basic premise of this collaborative learning. Okay. So we need to exchange our ideas and we need to learn from our students also. As I said, they are the digital natives. They also may be very innovative and creative. They are in the prime phase of life, right? So naturally, they will be coming up with very creative ideas. So if we have the heart and mind to accept their ideas, and if we or a smart teacher, we can instill, or we can make them understand that collaboration is a key. Okay, this time, through when online classes are happening, there is a lot of restriction to make the students to collaborate with each other, right? So, but then sharing of ideas will become, will make us more enriched, more knowledgeable, both teachers and students, right? So all these things, actually, I would like to share a study finding with you all. It was a very long-term study actually on human beings across the globe on different nationals. Many people in the survey, they were surveyed about from different countries. They were surveyed about when you were very happy, what gave you happiness. Okay, so that was the question posed to all the sample taken from different countries across the globe, right? So this was taken for some 5 to 10 years or so. Okay, so periodically it was carried out and people were asked the same question: what make you happy? Okay, so when you were very happy, so that was the question. So the finding, the important finding, okay, it was compiled and it was found out that people were more happier when they were with people. Okay, so you can also could relate it to your own experience also. You also will be having the same experience whenever you were happy with your colleagues, chatting and discussing, and when you are happy with your own relatives or at any function wherein you tend to happen to see so many of your known people, right? So people who have got more number of friends will naturally be always happy. Yes or no? So like being with people gives happiness to the human beings. Okay, so collaborating is all about mingling with people, sharing knowledge, sharing ideas and thoughts and emotions with people, right? So that we need to remember. It will make us happy. It will make our emotional, mental health also to an enhanced level, right? So we need to understand that. At least for that, we need to understand how to collaborate. We should keep our mind and heart open to collaborate with other people, and we should make our students also to collaborate effectively. And then even now in so many job advertisements which we come across in newspapers, like earlier, when we happen to read any job advertisements in the newspapers, all the technical skills that they need to know, Java and all that technical, with respect to that domains, they will be asking all the required technical eligibility and qualification or a degree or something like that. So now, even in the job advertisements also, this particular thing comes without fail. The new recruits has to be a team player. Okay, that is very important nowadays. Everything is a team. Okay, so even the javelin thrower, right? I think Neeraj, I forgot his surname. So that man had won gold medal for India in this Tokyo Olympics, right? So many of us will be aware of that. And he even though it's an individual individual game, he was not the one, responsible for his particular successful journey, right? So his coach and the entire team, fitness team, nutritionist, so many people will be working. I happened to watch, I think, final match of Wimbledon tennis championship. So when this Novak Djokovic finally delivered a champion talk, right? So he was thanking the entire team who were there in the stadium, and people who were not there also. He said it's a teamwork. Okay, so even though it's even an individual game, there are many people in the background in a team. They work as a team, right? So being a team player is a very much mandatory, essential skill. We need to understand first, and we need to make our students also to understand this particular thing. Okay, now the leadership, even in the corporate or any other industry for that matter, is not top down method or approach, right? There will be a boss, there will be a CEO, and he will be the dictator kind, and he will be giving instructions, and the team members will follow. That's a very old school of thought, right? Now, even in corporate, the boss will be called, by his own name, right? There won't be any adage or sir or etc., right? So like now the entire situation has got changed, right? So we are all equal peers, even though we are teachers, right? In a collaborative learning experience, right? So we need to be a team player. How can I contribute as a team member, team player, right? So now leadership dynamics itself has got changed. Okay, so you can see this. It should be a team player in this particular in every, almost in half of the job advertisements that we can see it in newspapers. Okay, so gone are the days when all this dictatorship, giving instructions, direction, etc. So now we should join as a player with our own students. Okay, if we want them to do a collaborative learning. So again, even the companies in the industry also require this skill sets. Okay, ability to work as a team. Okay, so see, these are the two comparisons, right? So what are the top skills required or mandated by the top 500 companies in the United States, right? So this was published in the Fortune magazine. So in 1970s, in those era, the top three, actually this from top two, the topmost option, third is reading, right? In 70s, in those days. So now we can never think of asking our students, well, what are the things you read, because our students are least interested to read anything, right? They're just visual based generation. Their visual culture and visual dynamics will be more than all of us. Okay, and then the second is computation. So earlier, in 1970s, only the computers were introduced, but it was very new. So computational, earlier it was typewriting, right? Typing skills, right? So computation was very much mandated, and the first is writing. Okay, that's the highest form of communication, right? So in 2000, the situation has been in millennial thing. It is entirely different. So the third most preferred skill by the employers is interpersonal skills. So people skills matters a lot, right? So top three. Top second is problem solving, skill. Okay, so whenever there is a problem or a crisis, we need to the members of the company or the employees of the company or the members of the team need to be able to solve that problem, right? And the first attribute or first skill, most important skill sought by the employers is teamwork. So they need, our students, are almost most of our students, are either a single child or they'll be having one or two siblings, right? So they are not used to share. They're not used to work in a team, right? Whatever they ask, it will be given by their parents. So in such a situation, when they are coming to the college, if they're given a work, they will be doing it in a very individual aspect, right? So I happen to be there in one of the school level cricket matches where my son also played actually. So they were all under 12 cricket team players. Okay, so most of the little boys in the team, they were all playing for their own self. They were not playing as a team. That particular boy will be thinking like, I have to bat well, I have to face so many balls, I have to score more runs, I have to bowl well. And individually, they never they were not trained to work or be in a team environment, because they were probably they will be the single child in their own homes. Okay, so I could see a lot of difference in this particular generation. Earlier, some 20 or 30 years back, it was not the case. All the kids will be playing out on street, as an entire team, right? So even at home, there were 3, 4, 5 kids. So the team camaraderie was there, team work was there. But now the millennial generation are not used to work in a team. So it is very challenging for us teachers to make the students believe that collaborative learning is everything. Being a team player is everything. Okay. This is the basic tenet of this collaborative learning, right? This quote is very popular, and you also would have heard about this, right? So tell me and I'll forget, teach me, I will remember, involve me, I will learn. So collaborative learning is all about involving students to do something in the process of learning something, right? Making the students do. Okay, if we involve our students to do something, to execute a task only, they will be able to learn something, right? So all this synergy will help the students to acquire more knowledge. It will help them to deepen their knowledge, widen their horizons of knowledge. Okay, the academic brilliance will naturally be increasing. So each and every one of us, one of the team members here is very much involved and glued to the work they're doing, right? So naturally the productivity will be more. Okay. And now you can see the enthusiasm in this particular slide also. Yes. What are the things? What are the merits of this collaborative learning for students? Because when we try to motivate our students to do collaborative learning, they need to be convinced that. So if I do this, what will I get? So that is the more consumeristic attitude of students or human beings for that matter at this very competitive world, right? So these are the different things that you can teach or you can make the students to imbibe, to develop if we ask them to do a collaborative learning, ask them to carry out any collaborative work. Okay, so the first thing they learn when they work as a team is, they can collaborate with each other is they will learn humility, right? Students at this age will have an opinion like, I know better than my friend. The entire class, I'm the class topper in school, so I know better than you, and all that attitude will be there in the minds of the students, right? So whenever they were made to collaborate, first they will understand, they will learn humility. I'm not the only one who knows everything. So my classmates also, they are knowledgeable like me, they're also very sincere like me. So that humility, the life lessons, they will be learning. So many value education this collaborative learning will give us. Okay. And then self-control, right? So in a group environment, they need to control their own ego, control their own attitude, and all such selfish thing, right? So the self-control will be there. Students will develop self-control if they are made to work in a collaborative environment. And then the fair play, that is very important, right? So competing is important, and giving our best is important rather than winning, right? So the fair play, doing it in a righteous way, that is very important. So they learn fair play also, right? And then patience. So everything, this generation is also very impatient, very ambitious, right? The shortcut generation also, right? So any task, if you are giving and ask them to do it together as a group, it will take some time. They are bound to fail first time, and then they will rectify. One of them will suggest this has gone wrong in this aspect, and they will rectify, and then the process they will be finishing. So it will give them patience. It will make them to be more patient. It will also make them to be more empathizing with their own team members. Okay, so the success of any teamwork is empathizing with each and every other members difficulties and strengths. Actually, empathy is not only understanding their weaknesses, it is also understanding the strength also. So if there is a team of some 5-6 students, one student will be very brighter, one person will be stronger in a communication skill, another person will be in an analytical skill. So if the entire group members come together, they can they can understand the strength and weaknesses of the team, and they can together they can execute the task in a very effective manner. Okay, so if one group member is weak, then the other person who is knowledgeable will be able to empathize. Okay, he's struggling in this aspect, let me help that person, my friend, my team member. All this empathy also it will give them. Okay, and then the second is they will gain self-confidence because they are doing it on their own, right? We are involving them. It is not like we are asking them to do something and they're doing. It will be like a slave kind of feeling they may get, right? So but if they do it on their own, then they will increase their self-confidence, their self-esteem also will be improved. Okay, so and then it will enhance their interpersonal and social skill. That is very important, right? We are all social animals. We cannot live alone, right? We cannot live in an isolated place. Okay, because social skill is very much, people skill is very much required, more than our domain knowledge and skills. We need to make our students realize this. Okay, interpersonal and social skill is very much important. Okay, now each and in every different period or decade, the traits of alpha, you would have heard about this alpha traits, right? So the more desirable traits a person has to have to be successful is, earlier it was, I think in a stone age, all these, hunting skills was the alpha trait, was considered as an alpha trait, right? Whomever is good at whoever is good at hunting skill, they are considered to be alpha males or alpha person, right? So then even in our Tamil and in our literature, or in all language also, so earlier it was considered in some, after some 100 years, it was like whomever is courageous, whomever is fearless, they were considered to be alpha male. Okay, and then at later stage, alpha trait was whomever has got more strength, physical strength, they are considered to be alpha male. Okay, so now we live in a knowledge economy. Whomever is more educated, more literate, more knowledgeable are considered to be alpha, right? So now this generation, this millennial thing, what is alpha is, alpha trait is yearning more people, winning people. Okay, so for which this interpersonal and social skill is very much required. Okay, if you want to be successful, if you want to be perceived as the alpha male or alpha female, we need to acquire more interpersonal and social skill. So that is considered to be the alpha skill now. Just imagine, whomever is successful, whomever is at the top of the ladder in any aspect or in any industry, they will be having this people skill and very good interpersonal skills. Okay, so this collaborative learning helps the students to develop all these things, and then students will be able to retain the knowledge that they gather while doing that work in a better way if they are asked to do the collaborative work. Okay, and then they will also get gratification. Okay, some satisfaction. So they will feel good that I've learned this, I've done this on my own as a team. So that will give some lot of gratification. That is very important. That gives, learning becomes a joy, gives them joy. So for which they need to do collaborative learning. And then it will also increase their academic achievement and brilliance. So these are the difference between competitive learning and collaborative learning. Earlier it was like competitive, right? So it was, focus was more on competing. You need to win. You need to be placed with a 6-digit salary package. Okay, so all this competition was very much there. So if we want our children or students to be competitive, they will end up as unhappy people. Okay, they will not be that much successful also. Okay, so these are the difference between competitive learning and collaborative learning. The first one is competitive learning, right? So that is the I have to win at any cost. I have to win. That is the competitive learning premise, right? So there won't be any interaction between students. Okay, I have to get gold medal, I have to get the university rank, I have to get placement, I have to increase my CGPA. So that will be the only focus in competitive learning. Okay, so in that case there won't be any interaction between students. Whereas in the collaborative learning, there will be active interaction. They will be working as a team. Okay, the students will continue to interact. and then they will not be accountable to others in competitive learning. They will not take the responsibility. They will not take any blame. Okay, they are not accountable to others in competitive learning because they only have to compete. They only have to win. That is the attitude. In this collaborative learning, they are accountable to others. They will be empathizing with their own fellow team player. Okay, so for the entire team, all the team members will be responsible. They will be accountable. And the third one is they will be responsible only to self, right? Whereas in collaborative learning environment, students will be feeling responsible to the entire group. They will own up the entire team, right? Both success and failure, right? So, and then in competitive learning, there will be homogeneous grouping. Either the student will be with his own friends or her own friends, if at all the situation arises. For example, if you're asking your students to make a pair, what they will do, it's a first situation, right? You have asked the students to make a pair. Okay, what they will do? They will look for their own friend as a pair, as a team member, right? So it will be homogeneous grouping. Whereas in the collaborative learning, there will be different background students will be forming a part of that particular team. So the grouping itself, dynamics will be changing. Okay, and then one student serves as a leader in competitive learning, whereas in collaborative learning, there will be a positive interdependence. Okay, what is interdependence? One team player will be dependent on others. Okay, in a positive manner. Okay, so whereas in competitive learning, one student will be the leader, group leader, and the other will be the members. Again, a top-down approach, right? So, and then in the competitive learning, social skills assumed or ignored. They don't bother about social skills. I have to give my presentation in a proper manner. That is the individual attitude, right? So, whereas in collaborative learning, they are taught the social skills directly because that's a mini society, right? The group members, they all gel together, they all interact together, come together and work together and succeed together. So it is social skills are taught directly in collaborative learning. That is why this collaborative learning is very successful and fruitful.
Madam, can you move to the previous slide, madam, once, please?
Is this fine or the next one you're asking?
Okay, madam. It's okay, madam.
Okay. Yes. These are some of the collaborative learning methods which are widely being used. Okay. So peer team teaching, these three teaching methods, learning methods you would be aware of. But then I just want to give a glimpse or a glance of all these methods. Okay, peer team teaching, as you know, the students will be teaching component. That component alone without students will prepare their own presentation on their own and they will present. So the teaching skills and the communication skills and the leadership skills, everything will be tested and everything they will improve. Okay, so even in Madurai Kamaraj University, we have allotted 5 marks in the internal assessment for peer team teaching. Okay, so all the last component of all the 5 units will be assigned as peer team teaching component. So they will be preparing and teaching their own peers. Okay, so that is peer team teaching. And the problem-based learning, as engineering college teachers, you must be very well aware of, right? So you'll give a problem and they will try to find a solution. In that process, they learn the concept, etc., right? So in the discussion group, the focus group discussion groups, you will be giving some topic and the two groups you can create or you can make the students into 2 groups and one group will be discussing or arguing for that particular topic and the opposite group will be talking against that particular concept, that topic. Okay, so even in our journalism department, we have a student club called Quest Club because journalism is all about understanding or knowing current affairs, right? So wherein the weekly club activities will happen. One will be quiz, weekly quiz on current affairs, and the second is debate only. So we will give one the most important widely debated or the most important current affairs topic, and the one group will be talking in favor of that particular topic, and the other group will talking against that particular topic. So that discussion groups, focus group discussion or etc. will be very helpful in making the students to learn in a collaborative manner. Again, this is a very important model, Bruce Tuckman's model of team development. So how the team will be developed? What are the nuances in the team development strategy? So you can use it in your classrooms and even in the other team also, in any other work, in a group work, you can do this. You can use this, right? So forming, storming, norming, forming, and adjourning. These are all the 5 different stages in this team development, group forming. Okay, so when you develop a team, the first thing, when the group is formed for the first time, okay, so imagine you are dividing your entire class into some 5 or 6 groups. Okay, each group consists of some 6 or 7 students. Okay, when they're not close friends, they're not friends actually. So you are picking and choosing and forming a group, and you are giving a task to all the 6-7 groups, 5-6 groups, okay, in a class. So now in the newly formed group, what are the things that can happen or that is possible is there won't be any agreement first of all, right? So because they are all individual members of the class, and they just put together, okay, for the purpose of doing something or executing a task, right? So first thing, there won't be any agreement at the first instance. Then there won't be any clear purpose. Okay, so you would have just given a task to them. There won't be any clear understanding. Okay, so what are we supposed to do? We're just formed into groups. That is the only thing that student will be knowing. Right? So the newly formed group will be knowing. So the third one is guidance and direction. So a lot of guidance and direction are needed at this stage. As the teacher, you need to guide all the groups about what are the things they need to do, how they can execute that particular task, how they can solve that particular problem, etc. A lot of guidance is required at this particular stage, forming stage. Second stage is storming. So when 3 or 5 or 6 or 7 students are together in a group, naturally there will be it's a new group, right? So there will be some conflict. Okay, like in the beginning years of our marriage, we tend to have so many conflict, right? Because two different human beings are coming together in a marriage, and the family members also are playing an important role in a marriage. So naturally a new group has been formed, imagine like that. So naturally conflict is bound to happen. So likewise in this collaborative learning group exercise also, the conflict will be there. One student may feel that our group is very weak, that group is very stronger. So all sort of conflict. They won't have any trust on the other members, fellow members in the group, right? So that conflict will be there, and then we need to be aware of this, and we need to take care of this and to address this particular issue. Okay, and then the second is there will be somewhat increased clarity of purpose, better than the forming stage, right? And the third one is there will be power struggles. I am big, I am a top scorer, that person is a last bencher, that group, my group member, all these things, that power struggle will be there. Okay, who can act as a leader, who can go and present, why I should not present, all such power struggles will be there in the storming period. And then coaching, a lot of coaching needs to be there from the side of the teacher. Okay, like the first stage, in forming stage, a lot of guidance you need to give, teachers need to give. In the storming side, we need to coach them, we need to make them as a group, proper group. Okay, that responsibility we have as a teacher. And the third is norming. Norming is like then the third level is much better stage, right? There will be some agreement and consensus. Then they will come to consensus that I will be presenting. You can do this work. The assigning of roles will be there. Okay, so the clear roles and responsibility will be there in this norming. Okay, so I can be a leader, or I can be the person who can present. You can do all this drafting work, all this. You can do this analytic work. You can do this, PPT presentation or whatever it is. So there will be some clear roles and responsibility in executing the task. Okay, and then the third stage in norming is facilitation. The last component are all done by the teachers, right, in a collaborative learning setup. So facilitation, we can only facilitate. It is sufficient that we can only facilitate. We don't have to give direction as we did it in the first stage, in the forming stage. We don't have to coach them as we did it in the storming stage. We just have to facilitate them. Okay, we just do this. Let the team members do. Okay, just creating a proper environment. That is what facilitation. Even at this age, at this stage, in the generation, teachers are reduced to facilitators only, right? So we are not teaching 100% the students, right? So likewise, that facilitation, enhancing, giving some proper ambience and environment, atmosphere, that is the only responsibility of the teacher. And then performing. So now the fourth stage will be actually they will execute the task. Okay, so they'll come to a consensus. They will understand their own responsibility and roles, and they will start doing their work. And teachers also will be facilitating. And now they will start performing. They will do their work. They will execute the work. Now they have got clear vision and purpose. I have to do this. You have to do this. Our team has to do this. Our team. That is the main thing, right? So clear vision and purpose will be there in this performing stage, and focus on goal achievement will be there. We have to finish this task fastly, quickly. All these things. Okay, the focus will be more on the goal only. We will forget, the team members will forget all their indifferences, all the power struggles, all their ego struggles, etc., etc. The focus will be more on goal achievement. Our team should win. So likewise, the performing stage will be there. And then delegation. So the delegation will be the role of the teacher. Okay, so delegation. So you will delegate. You can do this. This team can present first, and all these things. That delegation only will be done by the teachers. And the final stage is adjourning. Now the task is successfully completed by all the group members, and then as a result, adjourning is like the other name, other term usage is mourning. Okay, so now we will first talk about the happy part of it. Okay, so task is completed successfully. All the team members will be very happy that we have done a great job and we have solved the problem effectively and at a speeded time, quickly than the other group members. All this good feeling, sense of achievement. Okay, all these positive feeling, happy feeling will be there in the minds of all the group members. Okay, in this stage, adjourning stage. And sometimes, after that, it is a responsibility of the teachers, all of us, to recognize, to reward. We have to appreciate in terms of words. I have to give some small gifts or etc., etc. This group is the winner, and we are declaring, right? So the last component in all the aspects are done by the teachers. It is a responsibility of the teacher. Okay, in a collaborative learning setup. So let me come to the sad part of this adjourning phase, last phase. That is, mourning. It is also considered as called as mourning stage. Mourning means sometimes, when they were formed as a group initially in the forming stage, they would have got so many differences. They would not have liked the group members or the composition of the group, etc., etc. Ambience or the task. It is very tough, and all that stuff will be there. But then when they finish the task successfully, their feeling will be very happy and cheerful feel only. Right, so they have won it. They have won that particular. They have successfully executed the task in a successful manner. So they'll be happy feeling. So now they have become one. Okay, all the differences they would have forgotten in the process of executing the task. So now sometimes the group members will feel oh my God, we are going to dissolve this group. Okay, so some sort of sadness also it may come out. So that is why it is otherwise called as mourning part. Okay, in sports they will say no, we should not disturb the winning combination, because the group has been properly set. The coach, the players, sub staff, supporting staff, etc., administrators. So that if the team is successful, I know they will be basking in their glory. So immediately for another challenge, they won't feel like leaving that group, right? So because they have, but ultimately they have to leave. Okay, so as they say, winning competition, winning combination should not be disturbed. Okay, this psychology only. Okay, so this Bruce Tuckman was a popular educational psychologist. So we need to understand this group formation when we create a group in collaborative learning. These are some of the learning techniques, collaborative learning techniques. The first one is think, pair, and share. So this is, we have to ask the students to, you will be posing some question or you'll be giving some topic to them. Ask them to write their own, think and write it in a piece of paper about that particular thing. What do they think about that topic, about the concept which you have given to the entire class? Okay, so then you will be asking your students to be in pairs. Okay, so they will first they will individually write, okay, about the topic of discussion or about the concept you have given, about the question you have asked, anything. Okay, then they will share it with their pair. Okay, so then the pair in turn they both will discuss. Okay, so students will naturally feel comfortable to communicate or to make a presentation in a pair, right? We would have realized, we have understood, we have seen so many occasions and in our class, right? Classroom environment. So as a pair, then they will share it with the rest of the classes. Okay, first individually they will write, they will think about that particular concept and write, and then they will share it with their own pair, and then together as a pair they will share it, present it in front of the class. So in that case, the collaborative learning happens. So first individually you are making them to ideate, making them to think. They are coming up with their own ideas. Then they are sharing their ideas with their pair. Okay, and then together as a pair they are sharing their ideas with the entire class. So many pairs ideas and deliberation will be shared to the entire class. Like this you can make them collaborate, make them involved in a task. Okay, yes, another method is jigsaw learning technique, collaborative learning technique. Okay, again there will be two rounds. One is focus group and the other task group. The second round is task group. Okay, so now you have to divide the entire class into groups. Okay, and you have to give each different text to different groups. Okay, so all these first box will be one group, 2 will be another group, 3 another, totally 4 focus groups are there. So you are giving some task or a different some text to read and discuss, or topic to discuss. Okay, they will discuss among themselves, their own groups, focus groups, and then they will go from each one, from first group, one person from the first group will go to the task group and share what all they have learned about that particular topic. And from another person from the group 2 will go to the task group and they will discuss with that particular group. Okay, so likewise each member will from 4 different focus groups. Sorry. Now can you see the slide? No.
No, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, ma'am, audible, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Audible, ma'am.
Okay, only the slides are not visible, right?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
One sec. Now can you see the slide?
Yeah, visible, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So each member from all the focus groups will go and form a different group, that is the task group, and they will share what all they have learned in their own respective groups. Okay, so now that the group becomes a task group, so together with the different perspectives, all the 1 2 3 4 different 4 perspectives will come together, and they will discuss and collaborate and then execute the task successfully. So that is this Dixa method or technique. And the third one is peer instruction. Okay, this is slightly different from peer team teaching. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Am I audible? Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yes, ma'am. Audible, ma'am.
Yes. So this is different from slide. So here, you can pose a conceptually based multiple choice question. Okay. So I think you are able to read that particular question. Right? So first is, it is like a, what to say, Kaun Banega Crorepati kind of thing. Okay, so the participants will be there and with the clipboard or something, right? Right, they will be answering. They'll be giving their responses, right? So I read out the question. The sister calls to say she's having twins. Which of the following is more likely? Assume she's not having identical twins. Okay, so the first option is twin boys, option B twin girls, and C one boy one girl, and D all are equally likely. So now you are allowing your students to discuss among themselves. First, you are asked to record their individual responses. Okay, so first they will choose either one of the 4 options, right? So this is individual responses, right? Now, after giving their individual responses, the first individual responses result is D only. D is the most preferred option when it comes to their individual responses to the question, right? So after you are allowing them to interact, discuss with their peers, okay, with their classmates, okay, then you are allowing them to go for re-voting. Okay, again for the same question they need to vote, they need to click the right option. Okay, so now see, after discussion, they will discuss among themselves whether this option D is right or not, whether there is possibility for the option A or B, etc., etc. They will discuss in detail, and finally when you are asking them to re-vote for the same question, after the discussion, after the deliberation, now the result is changing, right? The answer is changed, right? Option C has emerged as the topmost preferred option. So this is the difference that peer instruction can make in a collaborative learning technique. Okay, so the students could get the opportunity to listen to others' perspective, and based on that they can change their decision, right? So sometimes some people are like that, no, they will make up their own decision and they won't they won't entertain any other people's perspective, right? So but in this case, you know, the students are open minded again, so they may think, they may come to a consensus, or they may think this is right, and then finally they could come up with the right answer. Okay, So that is what this peer instruction method is all about. And another technique is round table. Okay, so round table again, the first person who is at the first in the round table setup, you'll be asking your students to make it as a different round tables, and the first person has to first talk or write it in a piece of paper, okay, and then pass it on to the next person, and then he will add, and then the third person also will receive the same paper and add his own this thing, and then the fourth person receive the same paper and he add his own comments, his own opinions, etc., etc. Finally, the original paper will come to the person who started, right? So now the entire perspective would have got changed. Okay, so there are so many comments and reviews, and then they will the first person will review the entire deliberation, the discussion about that topic, and then the person who initiated the roundtable discussion will come up with the collective, will summarize all the group members' comments and reviews about the topic, and then the person who initiated the roundtable discussion will summarize and will present the collective opinion of the entire group, the roundtable members on that particular topic. Okay, so even if we are conducting online classes now, so we have so many techniques to keep a virtual roundtable also like this. We can use this roundtable technique to make the students to be more involved in understanding a concept or discussing the topic. Nowadays, we are just teaching, and we are not even sure that the students are listening. They are staying there at the other end or not, right? We just seems to be talking alone, right? All the online classes are going like this only, right? So in order to avoid that, in order to make the students more inclusive, in order to make the students more involving, we can use this roundtable technique also, even this online classes. Yeah. Finally, most importantly is teachers also need to understand that we need to collaborate with our fellow teachers. Okay. So again, I could find some beautiful quote like this: the most valuable resource that all teachers have is each other. Without collaboration, our growth is limited to our own perspectives, right? So like the students, we also should not be restricting ourselves to be very self-centered. Okay, so I have to climb up the ladder in my career. I have to look for my own promotion, my own academic growth or professional growth, etc., etc. We should not be hiding our resources. We should be sharing our resources. Sharing gives us happiness, right? Sharing makes us happiness. So we have to share our resources with our fellow teachers. They may not be friends, but then if we share, as the George Bernard Shaw quote said, right? So we will have so many ideas. Our ideas will get enriched if we share, if we collaborate with each other. And then both male and female teachers will be there. There should not be any gender bias or gender discrimination, right? So even the feminist people say life is not a competition between men and women; it's a collaboration, right? So if we think like that, many marital problems also may come to an end, right? Many times we feel like a husband is a competitor to wife and wife is a competitor to husband, right? So this perspective we need to remember. We are not competitors, we are partners, right? So we need to understand each other, we need to empathize with each other, we need to collaborate with each other, and we should have a common task in hand, right? So even feminists say that feminists are not expected to be man haters, right? Engaging men is also a new concept. I think it has been there for the past 10 or 15 years or so in feminist research. Okay, we need to engage men. Without engaging men in the process of achieving gender equality, it is not going to be fruitful. Okay, so sometimes all the feminists, some feminists kinds of some type of feminists would say, right? So ditching men or abusing men is the hallmark of feminism. It is not so, right? We also need to engage men. So likewise, in collaborative learning also. That should not be the case, right? Male teachers should not, be thinking like female teachers, they're not techno-savvy, all that stuff. Okay, we're all equal, but we have our own gender differences. Okay, we have our own. Women have their own way of problem solving, their own way of analyzing things, their own way of teaching, right? Likewise, men also will be having their own way of their ways and means will be different. So the gender differences is there, but then there is no inferiority or superiority. There is no proven finding or any other critical understanding or scholarship in comparing men and women teachers, wherein we can categorically say male teachers are good at this thing or female teachers are good at this thing. Okay, so we need to share and care as teachers also. So finally, I would like to conclude this session with this topic. Teachers need other teachers. This is not a job that cannot be done alone. That can be done alone. Collaboration and friendship are vital in keeping the teachers sane and happy. So as teachers, we need to understand first that collaboration is very important. We need to practice first within among ourselves, and then we have to make our students also realize that collaboration is everything. That is the alpha trait. That is the need of the hour. And in this pandemic situation, that gives us extra strength and support in our teaching learning process. More than anything, collaboration makes the students happy, and collaboration makes the teachers also be very happy. Okay, so, and I only hope and pray to God that very soon we will be having the fortune and privilege of meeting our students in person and collaborating with our own students and our fellow teachers successfully, and have a happy and productive professional life and career. Thank you, and thank you all for your patience listening.